Thank you, and hi everyone. I know you have two very, very exciting days with a lot of networking and innovations and new ideas. So thank you first for being with us in this more this structurally session. And thank you for Chiliz that make this space possible. They are very in care about entertainment and the community, and it's one of the things we are going to talk about. Okay, we are about to explore one of the most exciting frontiers where technology, creativity, and community collide, Web3 gaming. So Web3 is not just changing how we play, it's redirecting the way that we create, own, and connect. Within digital worlds, like developers, companies, studios, and players, we generate a new ecosystem. And to get through this drive, we are going to make a journey with all in connected with Web3 gaming. We have this amazing panel. So I ask you to introduce yourself like a professional, but a little like gamers. I want to know what is your favorite video game, not only your professional career.
All right. Hey everyone, my name is Sébastien Borger, co-founder of Sandbox, global ambassador of Sandbox and Sunchain. Before I jump into what's Sandbox, my favorite game, well, since I've been a teenager, I'm pretty sure I've played countless hours of Counter-Strike, all my summers, nights and days, very competitive. Was one of the first like multiplayer shooter game and esport game as well. And since I've been a teenager, I always had this dream that one day not only I would play video games. I got my first console as a Super Nintendo with Super Mario World as a game, but I really wanted to make my own video game. And that's really what started me into the journey of like becoming an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur with several successful exit and business, always in like user-generated content. And the most successful one, I'm pretty sure everyone in the room is familiar with the Sandbox, which is like a decentralized virtual world that counts over like 400 major brands and partners from the like of like Snoop Dogg, Gucci, Warner Music, Ubisoft, Attack on Titan, and many others brands in entertainment, sport, gaming, and culture, and counts more than 8 million users with a wallet. So we've been one of the driving forces that brought in users to Web3, thanks to blockchain, NFTs, and the platform. More recently, actually last week, we announced Sunchain. So it's our own layer 2 blockchain that's using zk-Sync and Caldera. And the essential idea of Sunchain is to power the creator economy, content creator, to drive more audience, to boost and grow their communities and economies, access to monetizing and financing. So I'm sure we'll talk more about this.
Of course, we're expecting for that.
Okay. Thank you for having me, Paula, Merch, Heo, and all the team. I'm Mariano Rubinstein. I'm co-founder and CEO of Sura Gaming and Sura Ventures. And what we do basically is a 360 degrees gaming ecosystem. We start building with the community, in the blockchain gaming community, and then we evolve into different parts of the ecosystem. We are now having a venture studio, and we help developers grow, get capital, and get a product market fit. And we are connecting both worlds, the B2C and the B2B. And regarding my favorite game, I've never been a try-hard at gaming. I only played casual games, and my favorite from my childhood is Mario Bros.
Okay,
Yeah.
mine too.
Okay.
Mine too.
Okay, so we are three.
We are Mario Bros fans.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm Marina Villalonga. I'm partner at Asencia Abogados, which is a law firm based in Spain, and we mainly focus in the gambling and gaming sector and the digital assets, blockchain, and this intersection between gaming, crypto, Web3. So we help gaming developers to fit the law.
Okay, this is an amazing panel. I'm very, and a lot of professions, and where we begin, then I'm going to introduce myself. Okay, together we are exploring some key questions like how Web3 transforming relationship between players, developers, and publishers, first. Second, how can we balance fun and monetization? And to close this journey, the deep and profound journey we are going to do, is what does the future look like for Connect ecosystem in gaming? So let's start with you, Sebastian. The first question is, how is Web3 changing the relationship between players, developers, and publishers?
Well, it's a great starting question. Before I answer, I think it's good to take a look at what's the current state of gaming, like what's like to publish a game nowadays. So I don't know who in the audience is like a game developer, if already familiar with the process. Not too many, so let's go to basics. Currently, the dominant business model for many games is called free-to-play. It's essentially a mobile, casual game where you as a user will get access to the content for free in exchange of ads, and you can have eventually in-app purchases where you can spend to buy virtual currencies, content pack, and so on to make your experience even better and keep your progression in the game. About 1 to 3% of the users are actually paying the content to make the purchase. And so all the rest, they are receiving ads, they're consuming ads as a way for the developers to monetize. This business model implies a few things. The first is like actually the games need to collect data about like the behavior of the users to target them with ads and make them click those ads and install other applications to keep growing and attracting users. The other aspect is like most of those games are being distributed by stores like App Stores, Google Play Stores, Steam, Epic that take a large commission on any revenue that's being generated, about 30% on average, even though it can be challenged nowadays. And due to certain change in regulation, we have alternative payments, which we can talk about. But let's take it as the basis. It's been mostly 6 years that the top grossing, meaning like the games that generate the most revenue, has not changed at all. Meaning like the barrier to entry for a new game developer to enter like best title and start earning and reach millions of users is becoming impossible to reach, which is not good for an industry when you know like you cannot make it through unless you're going to spend not longer hundreds of thousands, no longer millions of dollars, but tens of millions of dollars in user acquisition and marketing. Now you might think as well, there's still an opportunity. I'm earning 70% of the revenue from like the in-app purchase. But the truth is as well, like you're going to reinvest a vast majority of those 70% back into user acquisition to get users, which you will monetize through the sale of in-app purchase or ads. So actually, at the end of the day, the developers are suffering. The players are having a relatively bad user experience being blasted with ads, and their privacy is out of their control. They don't own their data, they don't own how the action they are doing, and the data is being utilized by advertisers to serve them ads. And also like any content that they buy, whether it's virtual currency or asset pack, doesn't belong to them either, because like as soon as you leave the game or the you cannot transfer it to another user.
You lose everything.
You lose everything. The game will close. Actually, that's also a problem because the industry is so competitive. About 80% of the games that are in development never launch. That's the first frustration in gaming. The second frustration is that out of those games that go live, less than 30% of those games will still be live after 3 years, meaning like they haven't reached commercial success to keep, for the developers to keep paying their teams, the developers, and sustain it with the live ops model. So it's a very difficult industry, hit-driven, where very few, less than 95% of the game will make it through and be successful. So what can developers do? Actually, well, what happened is like game developers have been looking at new ways to like basically make it through, to earn revenue and so on, and Web3 came as an answer to them. Why? Like Web3 has enabled new model for the discovery of game through growing community and acquiring users and through monetizing. in the gaming industry that use blockchain technology, we've seen the sale of NFTs in form of digital assets, even before the development started of the game, sort of like Kickstarter. That's been back in 2021. That was the main way that developers were like involving the community, giving them a stake in the form of ownership of those assets, and using the funding to develop. Then we've seen the rise of play to earn and games that use token and like decentralized economies, enabling their community of users, investors, and many stakeholders to participate on the economy and be rewarded as they play those games, complete quests, and so on. However, we've seen that most of the time those economies are not sustainable, and it comes with many challenges, both on the legal side, on like how do you launch a token product, and as well like how do you create a sustainable economy where like there's an actual inflow of real money, and it's not just you giving rewards in the form of token constantly. More recently, we've seen new models that have been explored, which is like staking rewards, prediction market, and real money gaming, where like you can challenge other players for a very small amount of money, like betting $1, 1 rupee, 1 peso, 1 euro to challenge Mariano. I will be better than you at Mario. I can finish that level faster, and whoever wins the pot. This is very gray area, whether it's actually gambling or gaming. Prediction market in gaming as well is a new way where it's been like pushing around. Stablecoin in gaming is also a way to protect players against the fact that many of the token value over time are very hard, and token economies are very hard to sustain, and that's created a loss of trust and economical loss for many players. However, I like to, and maybe I'll stop here because I could talk for hours on all those models. What I love is like basically there is a lot of experimentation. Web3 and decentralized ownership has enabled a new relationship between game developer, players, and publisher by redistributing the value in a new way. And so the revenue is not going to the stores or the advertising platform. It's going first to the players, the developers, and the store. So it's a more healthy relationship that's being defined.
So it's a good way to improve the new developers' business.
I think so. It's definitely opening new ways for like emerging actors to become new leaders, for like bypassing the gatekeepers, and to offer more value for the players. So that's all beneficial.
Yeah, thank you. One of the
I was thinking that traditionally the video game industry was very centralized, and all devs used to go to publishers because publishers provided two of the most important things: funding and users. But the blockchain brings decentralization. So what happened with the very first Web3 games is that we started to see self-publishing, and we started to see different ways of funding through tokens, through NFTs, different kind of NFTs. It could be avatars, it could be lands, it could be staking in different platforms. So what I value the most of Web3 is this kind of decentralization, and that brings then to another way of publishing, which we call the community publishing. In our case with Sura, for example, we started working with some games, and we grew our community at some point that it's a massive community of people who play video games in South America, and now the games are looking into us to distribute and to get their discovery. So at some point, we are replacing or we are doing the same as traditional publishers.
Okay, thank you. And now I have both you together. So one of the exciting things of Web3 is the interoperability. So how can you explain that Shura and the Sandbox ecosystem can operability together?
It's you can go, or I can go. I don't know.
Right. So interoperability is the idea that your content, your assets, has more utilities than the single game or platform where you originally acquired. So having multi-purpose assets that can be used across multiple games is actually a way as well to first give like more benefit to players. I buy my avatar once in a game, but I can play with that avatar across multiple worlds or multiple games. And also it's opening new creative way to do user acquisition, because now you know that certain assets held by players are valuable, and you know the size of the community, so you could offer to the owner of those NFTs the ability to play into your game, and in this way offer them like a different experience, lowering your cost of user acquisition. Taking a concrete example, we've seen, and we've done at Sandbox, not only we've launched in Sandbox our own avatar collection or voxel model. We have hundreds of thousands of voxel models made by ourselves or by content creator on the platform. And those are not just limited to be used in Sandbox, they're already being used in other Unity game, Unreal game, and Web3 platform that support it. We actually co-founded the OMA3, the Open Metaverse Alliance, to work on more standardization around interoperability, from like file format, the technical aspect, and others. Interoperability is great because, like, even if one game stops existing, well, you can still use your game asset in other places, and you can still deliver value in a way to the asset owner, even beyond the first and the prime use case they got their asset from.
Yeah, I believe that interoperability has two different aspects. The first one is technical, that nowadays it's much more easy to integrate different ecosystems. And the other one is logical. For example, if I have a soccer game, what can I do with a soccer player into a shooter game? There is no sense in there. So the sense of interoperability and connecting ecosystems, it's a layer above that. So for example, maybe you can play some games within the Sura ecosystem and earn some Sun points or Sun tokens, and then you can use the same tokens or points you are earning playing one game to use it in another game or to spend it on real-world assets. So we will start to see every day much more connected ecosystems and much more connected blockchains with different projects.
Okay, so maybe it's easier for the community to understand what Web3 gaming is and adopt it, but maybe studios are still hesitant to adopt Web3 as a tool. What do you think in the legal aspect or education aspect? Now we're talking with Marina. Will be the problem to say, okay, I'm going to take this tool. This tool is a benefit for everybody.
Well, I think that from Sebastian's first speaking, we can imagine what the problems could be because he has just listed them all. We are switching from a play to earn to a play to own, and this ownership can entail a legal risk, and with it, many legal aspects should be taken into consideration in order to develop a Web3 gaming. So it can be scary for the gaming developers in Web3 to understand and to really take care of all these new legal challenges that Web3 gamings are presenting. For example, well, intellectual property was already a risk, but it is still a risk. I mean, we should know if we are using someone else's intellectual property or we should protect our intellectual property. That's okay, that existed already. But then other problems, for example, the new content created by the users. What's the matter with it? I mean, who belongs? What's the matter with it? Who belongs these new creations? This is something that you need to think about it beforehand. Is the player claiming their creations, or is part of the game, or how do you interact with all this new ecosystem? the problem with the monetization, the loot boxes, for example. The loot boxes have been a nightmare in the recent years, at least in Europe. A loot box, I don't know if anyone in the audience is familiar with the loot box concept. It's like you are playing, you find this treasure chest, and then you open it, and there's this super powerful magical sword to do whatever. And this, depending on how do you this price, can make you cross the line between gambling and gaming, because Sebastian, you were mentioning this red line. We need to be very careful not to cross this line. For example, in Spain, in order to decide if a game falls into the gambling perspective, you need to take into account 3 requirements. First of all, pay to play, second, chance, and third, the monetization of the price, okay? If these 3 elements, if these 3 requirements are met, then you are crossing the red line and you are falling into the gambling regulations, which are very tough and they are no joke. So every gaming developer has to be very aware of these mechanisms in order to how we give the prize. I am winning this super magical sword because of my skills in the game, or it's decided by chance. Can I go to a marketplace and sell this sword and winning some money with it, or not? All these conditions are very important, and you have to think it about before, because you can have a great mess in your business if you are not taking care of this. Data protection, you may be creating a virtual reality world. You are collecting biometric data, for example, or statistical data, whatever. What are you doing with this data? How are you transacting? How are you informing? Good thing here in Europe, for example, is that if you fulfill the GDPR regulations, then you are safe all over the world. But with gambling, for example, you have to be careful in every different world, because it's the criteria, the 3 criteria we mentioned, are slightly different. So if you feel sure in Spain, for example, and you are confident that you are complying with laws in Spain, maybe you are not complying with them in Colombia. So you need to get a good assessment in every jurisdiction you plan to launch your game. So these are the reasons, some of the reasons why I think that maybe some developers can be, from a legal perspective, be so scared about, okay, I'm not sure when I'm going, where I'm going to, so I'm not sure how to manage all these potential problems. So it's very important to address it. And connecting with your second part of the question, the education.
Yeah. First I'm going to introduce myself. I'm a director of a technical degree in video games in the UTN in Argentina. And we are the first university that put Web3 courses in the career. And we have a postgrad in Web3 gaming. And we work very hard with Mariano of Sura to have all these courses and get professionals prepared in this innovation. And we find that students still have afraid or take Web3 as a tool. My students are still doing only Web2 gamings. So my question, and I'm going to take your answers for my house to work with him. What do you think we can do from education, not just devs, not just professional people, students that are going to be the professionals of the future? What can we do from the university to to make Web3 gaming growth?
So I'll jump, and I'd like to
Yeah.
complement everything that Marina said is very on point. But you have to think one thing, is like people who make video games, they are not corporate people. They are not people who are coming from the industry background or government or institution. They are usually young, creative, passion, and what they want to do is make video games. They just want to make fun products. They don't necessarily understand that they have all those complexities of law. So first of all, there is a problem of total ignorance. Like the second is like, as many people working in the field of entrepreneurship and innovation, you just want to ship the innovation. You don't want to think first like all the legal problems you can have with your innovation. Law will catch you if you grow big enough and so on. So they end up like experimenting with quite advanced concepts using DeFi. Gacha was something that like came in regulation much later after like it became very successful and because of addiction and proximity with gambling. We've seen in France the case of Sorare. So Sorare is like a football game where you buy cards of football players. And there was a law created because of Sorare, because it was very hard to define if like it was skill-based or full gambling. When you buy the card of a football player, and the performance of a football player is actually not based on your skills, it's based on the real world player. And now, like, because of that, people are a little bit scared and they are doing fantasy football instead. So to bypass the fact that, and all of these things, I think you fight ignorance with education, education in university, education with the Blockchain Game Alliance. So both Mariano and myself, so I'm a president of the Blockchain Game Alliance. It's been since 2018. Now we are like an association that counts 600 members. We showcase what people are doing in gaming. We connect with lawyers. We provide education. We talk to demystify, to make it more seamless, and also we have those conversations with regulators. I spent countless hours to explain what is NFT, what is play to earn, how do you explain that in play to earn you can earn rewards, you can buy NFTs that become yield-bearing assets, but they are not securities, and we should be able to operate as an industry without falling into like the big MiCA law. So we actually influence MiCA 1 to not include NFTs, and we, through not just us, like with the collaboration of Ubisoft and other like large companies, MiCA V2 as well, to not include NFT into a certain scope. If not, any NFT you would buy in a game, you will need to do KYC, you will be capped into how much you can spend and how much you can earn as reward before you declare very complex issues.
The thing with the NFTs was another huge point, in fact, because precisely on what you said,
games will fall like exchanges. Can you believe that?
That's
like
it.
same requirements.
You may think that your NFT is excluded from MiCA, but maybe it's not, because it's not unique, and you have to examine. Okay, is it really an NFT or not? Has this uniqueness? Is form over substance, substance over form? And I mean, there are a lot of criteria, etc. But the analysis you have to take beforehand, it's so hard. I mean, it's not achievable.
It is, and it comes with a cost. So imagine you're a young person, you just have your saving, you want to make a video game. You can make a game for a couple hundred of thousands of dollars, but as soon as you need to hire a lawyer to make a legal opinion, then it puts a barrier to entry and it kills innovation. So my stake has been like, let people be creative. Don't regulate too early, because the market needs to grow, specifically in gaming. Like the revenue generated from Web3 gaming is very far from the one of centralized exchange and bigger institutional and financial players. And once we've proven that Web3 gaming is beneficial and will outpass Web2 game, then it could be interesting to start applying more standardized laws, work with the stores like it's been done on App Store and Google Play Store to implement, I don't know, PEGI regulation, COPPA regulation, and so on, or GDPR, and let the young, small guys still at the university be creative and enjoy what they do.
Thank you.
Going back to education, what I say is that we need to educate the people who make the rules, because they are killing an industry. Just imagine that the fail rate of the traditional video game industry is over 90%. So 9 out of 10 games that are created fail for different reasons. That after spending a couple of years, a couple of $1,100, imagine just adding a legal issue to that. So there were not a next video game industry without the huge companies. There will be only the huge companies, no indie games.
Okay, thank you. We have very little time. We can be talking about this for hours because we love this. So a little message for everybody, to the audience, for gamers, for developers, for investors, and for everybody who wants to know how is to build in Web3. A message for the future?
All right, so it's been roughly 5 years now that we've seen the first iteration of play-to-earn and Web3 gaming. I think it's still a great time to jump in because there's still no established model, successful business model, and market leader in the space. The idea that I don't see a future where players will not own their asset, will not own their economy, and where all payment will not be in crypto. So if you believe in the same future, if you believe that the future of gaming is also like users owning and creating the content in the game they play, and those assets can be interpretable and will exist, then like it's a no-brainer in the fact that like you need to integrate Web3 to educate yourself about how it works. Ideally, if you have the time and money, do the right legal opinion about it or educate the regulator about it. And that's the only way. Like maybe we'll fail, 90% of us fail, that's the standard rate. But if you don't try, you cannot succeed. That's my takeaway.
Mariano?
I'm going to say a phrase that many people in the industry said, and that's Web3 gaming is inevitable. And I still believe that, even the market right now is very down and very cold. And it has a reason behind that. We used to put the technology, the blockchain technology, in front of everything. And now we're starting to use the blockchain technology under the hood, in the back. So the technology is great, and it will be used on any game. And this doesn't mean that you have to build a play-to-earn revenue model for your game. It doesn't mean that you have to build a token-centric game. You have to build a player-centric game and use the technology where it used to be.
Marina?
Just not to be hated by anyone in the, in the audience. No, I mean, there are a lot of amazing projects in not just only for just fun, but making fun other things that they are not usually for fun, meaning that training students, training employees. It's a great source of learning and enjoying learning and enjoying do some things that traditionally are considered to be boring, that now they enter in another dimension, and this is a good catch, a good reason to sell the technology and all its possibilities. So
just one thing I can add on that is like crypto and Web3 gaming has been the greatest democratizer of like financial literacy for the past decade. So a lot of people who were not familiar with financial complex system, now they learn about it and they like able to benefit from it.
That's
so
it.
Okay, thank you for everybody to join this space with us and enjoying the biggest industry in entertainment, that is video games. Thank you. Thank you for all.
Thank you.